Military officials in Iran are reportedly building what appears to be a nuclear-powered aircraft carrier. Given that fact, it begs the question, should we be concerned? Well, not really according to American authorities, as they don't suspect Iran is capable of building a functioning nuclear aircraft carrier. Intelligence analysts first spotted the vessel last summer on the Persian Gulf, near Bandar Abbas. They're ruling it as a mock vessel complete with mock aircraft on the deck that is strikingly similar to the Nimitz-class carriers in the Navy. In fact, Iran's version even bears the Nimitz number 68 on the bow. A Navy spokesperson, Commander Jason Salata, commented, "Based on our observations, this is not a functioning aircraft carrier. It's a large barge built to look like an aircraft carrier. We're not sure what Iran hopes to gain by building this." He also inquired, if it is a big propaganda piece, to what end? That seems to be the million-dollar question, as Iran isn't exactly keeping it a secret. The vessel is being built in a satellite-monitored, wide-open shipyard. Navy officials suspect it will be towed out to sea, blown up, and recorded for hype.
The Islamic Republic of Iran and its air defense force, defense is a right for any human or nation. Iran's defense doctrine states that we have the right to defend ourselves against any threat or enemy at any time.
In attendance were 32 military attachés from countries such as Afghanistan, Syria, Turkey, Russia, Indonesia, North Korea, and China. Brigadier General Farzad Ismaili, who's also the commander of Iran's Khatam al-Anbiya Air Defense Base, explained the base was established by Iran's leader Ayatollah Sayyid Ali Khamenei, who was also Iran's commander-in-chief back in 2008.
The U.S. will not be content regardless of the laws Iran abides by, and the U.S. has brought unilateral sanction against Iran. Iran is a member of the IAEA and respects its guidelines, and it is also a signatory of the Non-Proliferation Treaty. Now they want to prevent Iran from achieving its right to have nuclear energy. However, the problem is bigger. It is the West and the Zionist regime trying to stir up the world against Iran.
Brigadier General Ismaili also commented on the recent Israeli threats against Iran.
Iran's air defense force can be powerful and efficient when used in a surprise attack. If the air defense force shows all of its capabilities and equipments to the world, it will lose its efficiency. We're always working to improve our air defense capabilities. Iran's air defense force is powerful because it can act quickly under pressure and effectively to destroy any enemy.
The commander ended by saying that Iran will never propagate war against other nations. However, he added that armed forces are ready to defend their country against any act of aggression by the enemies.
High-ranking Iranian officials and military attachés of 32 friend countries have been invited to commemorate the heroic air defense of the Islamic Republic of Iran Army. Amir Hossein Eskandar, Press TV, Tehran.
The anti-ship cruise missile Ghadir, which hit its target shortly after its launch from a shore-based battery. A Navy destroyer has also fired a long-range anti-ship cruise missile named Noor. Different types of projectiles and torpedoes have also been launched. During the drills, Iranian defense units fought back and countered an assault by mock enemy, intruding the country's territorial waters and shores. The Navy says several spy aircraft belonging to foreign forces in the region tried to infiltrate the maneuver zone, but were warned off by the Iranian forces.
Both of them were long-range missiles. The Ghadir missile is a ground-to-sea missile, and the Noor missile is a sea-to-sea missile. And both of these missiles destroyed their targets successfully. All the submarines and all the battleships that are going back to their naval bases, they will go ahead and hold exercises on their way back. They will pass through different minefields, and they would go ahead and have different kinds of exercises, like, for example, communicating with light, and also with helicopters that are going back. Tomorrow there will be three, as I have heard, there would be three kinds of exercises. One between the battleships themselves. I mean, a group of them would go ahead and hold exercises, and also one with the submarines. All the submarines will hold will have exercises themselves, and one that both the battleships and the submarines together will hold exercises. This is all on their way back to their naval bases. Tomorrow is the last day. I spoke to the spokesman of the drills this morning, and he was very happy with the results of these drills up to now. And he said that these drills they have a message of peace for the countries in the region, and that's what's important. He also told me that the media in the West, most of the media in the West, they have been working in a way to say that they have been acting in a way that Iran wants to, with these drills, is planning to close the Strait of Hormuz. And he told me that basically it's nothing like that. These drills are actually for the safety of the waterways of the Strait of Hormuz, and they secure all the security needed for this important waterway.
They are modern, reliable, and deadly. That's why they have become the star of the Iranian Navy in recent years. But Iran doesn't buy these powerful submarines. It builds them from scratch.
Iran is the only country in the Middle East that builds modern submarines. Surrounded by the Caspian Sea, the Persian Gulf, and the Sea of Oman, the country also has one of the largest naval forces in the world.
The new versions of Qadir-class submarines are so powerful that the commander of Iran's Navy says they will soon join the country's warships in the Indian Ocean and the Mediterranean Sea. He also told Press TV that under international maritime law, Iran would soon send its new submarines to as far as the Atlantic Ocean.
The manufacturing of new classes of Qadir submarines is up and running. As you can see, we did send our first submarine to the sea in no time and without any trouble. They will be tested in the Persian Gulf waters before starting their maiden voyage to the Sea of Oman and the Indian Ocean.
The commander of Iran's Navy says despite the allegations by certain countries, the Navy or its military achievements do not pose any threat to its neighbors. But he warned that the Navy is ready to defend the country come what may.
I have said it on several occasions that the Iranian Navy has never allowed any foreign warships to enter the country's waters. We will continue to monitor their movements with the new vessels.
Iran successfully test fires different missiles and torpedoes on the fourth day of the Velayat 91 drills. The spokesman of the drills gave us the details about the missiles and torpedoes test fired on this day.
On the fourth day of the Velayat 91 drills, we successfully test-fired different types of missiles and torpedoes. Successfully fired our medium-range RAD missile. The targets were drones and were destroyed. Our short-range missiles also were fired and hit their targets. We also successfully fired the short-range ground-to-sea cruise missile. Our submarines were also very active on the fourth day. They fired different types of torpedoes. Torpedoes destroy targets both under and above the sea.
Rear Admiral Rastegari says that all the missiles are domestically made and the torpedoes made by other countries are upgraded by Iranian experts.
All of our missiles are made by Iran's Ministry of Defense. We also successfully test-fired the torpedo made by Iranian experts. We do have torpedoes made by other countries, like the Seeker, which we have upgraded.
Iranian military officials say that the drills have a message of peace for the countries in the region and is a warning for Iran's enemies. Iranian military officials here say that Iran can make torpedoes for both its light and heavyweight submarines and is completely self-sufficient in this area.
ملاحک بارانی هم دارد. این تصاویر هم قدرت پدافندی ما را نشان می‌دهد. نمایش اقتدار و ابهت سامانه موشکی S-200
در این مقابله با هواپیماهای استراتژیکی برد بلند و موشک‌های بالستیک و نیمه بالستیک و میتونه بر علیه تهاجمی از حملات در حقیقت استفاده بشه. امام راحل فرمودن ما میتوانیم هر کسی در جمهوری اسلامی ایران این جمله رو برای خودش نهادینه بکنه هر ناشدنی رو شده.
شبکه یکپارچه از تمام نیروها با انواع رادارهایی که هیچ پرنده‌ای توان فرار از آن را ندارد. آن روزها داشتن مهاجر آرزو بود. امروز می توانی برای هر مهاجر یک کتاب بنویسی. دوستان مهاجر امروز هر کدام وظیفه‌ای دارند. یکی شناسایی.
ما در همه جا هستیم در حالی که در هیچ جا نیستیم.
یکی تهاجم. راستی RQ 170 را یادت هست که وقتی به دام افتاد جناب باراک نتوانست ساکت بنشیند. RQ کاملا رمزگشایی شده. نویدی هم بدهم.
And from the battleship, Iranian military officials say that Iran is the first power in the region as far as missiles are concerned.
معکوس من
On Monday, Iran said it had successfully test-fired 2 long-range missiles during a naval exercise in the Gulf. The Islamic Republic is trying to show it could hit Israel and U.S. bases in the region if attacked.
We have good missiles with proper range and shooting and targeting accuracy. This missile's explosive capability means we are able to announce that our shore-to-sea missile systems are so powerful that we can hit any target anytime if it's necessary.
The missile tests come as the West is increasing pressure on Iran over its nuclear ambitions. Analysts say Iran's increasingly strident rhetoric is aimed at sending a message to the West that it should think twice about the economic cost of putting further pressure on Tehran. The United States and Israel have not ruled out military action against Iran if diplomacy fails to resolve the Islamic State's nuclear row with the West. Deborah Luderbeck, Reuters.
The United States says that it has managed to dismantle at least parts of Iran's nuclear program. What do you say to that?
Well, you can come and see whether our nuclear sites, nuclear equipments, nuclear facilities are dismantled or not. The only thing that we have stopped and suspended, and that is voluntarily, is the production of 20% enriched uranium, and that's it. Of course, there is another thing that we have undertaken, we have committed ourselves, not to install main equipments which have been defined, what those main equipments are, in the Arak 40 megawatt heavy water reactor. The nuclear facilities are functioning. Our enrichment is proceeding. It's doing its work. It's producing the 5% enriched uranium. And those centrifuges that stopped producing the 20% will be producing 5% enriched uranium. In other words, our production of 5% will increase. And the entire activity, the nuclear activity of Iran is going on. The best part of this joint action plan is the research part. It's so clear, and that R&D has no constraint.
Are you planning to build new nuclear power stations in Iran? We know that it's one, Bushehr one is not enough, perhaps.
Yeah. Yes, you see, we have one, which is the Bushehr power plant, which is about 1,000 megawatt nuclear power plant, which is the only country in West Asia that has a nuclear power plant. We have a protocol signed between Iran and Russia in 1992, at the time of President Rafsanjani, that the Russians, according to this protocol, had committed themselves, upon request of Iran, to construct another 4,000 megawatt of nuclear power plants in Iran. So we are trying to bring into implementation this protocol. We are talking to, negotiating with the Russians over this next 4,000 megawatts. Still, we have not exhausted the negotiation. We are still negotiating the terms. We hope that the next power plant we will be able to start the work on the next power plant next year.
What about the regional countries? If, for instance, tomorrow the United Arab Emirates or the Saudis or other regional countries, the Persian Gulf states, if they ask you, Mr. Salehi, do you think you can help us with building our own power plant? Would you help them?
We are indigenously working very hard on developing one indigenous power plant, about 360 megawatts. But that takes quite a while, and that is our first experience. But what we can do if they ask us for assistance, we can be good advisors in many aspects.
So you're ready to help them?
Yeah, and we are ready to help them. You see, we have always been at the negotiating table. It's the other side who appeared at some time and disappeared at other times. And we have never declined negotiating with the 5+1. Always shown our good intention, but we hope that this time they really come with good intention and good faith. If they really come in good faith and with good intention, this is an opportunity that they can utilize. Otherwise, Iran will pursue its natural course.
If President Barack Obama is defeated by pro-Israeli lobbies in the Congress, the likes of Bob Menendez and Mark Kirk, and the United States decides to violate the terms of Geneva deal, how long will it take, technically speaking, for Iran to get back on track?
A few hours.
A few hours. Yeah. And will we do that?
Well, if we need to produce 20%, yes, we will do it.
Let's go to the question of the Arak heavy water reactor. A lot of people are questioning why. Why does Iran need plutonium in the first place?
You see, we have many types of reactors. This reactor, it is a heavy reactor, but we have not designed this reactor for the intention of the production of plutonium. This is one. Second, yes, this reactor can be used, or such type of reactors, heavy water reactors, can be used for the production of plutonium. You also have production of plutonium in light water reactors. But you see, why don't they speak about plutonium in light water reactors? In Bushehr, we are producing plutonium in Bushehr. But the answer is, technical answer, is that not all plutoniums are good plutoniums for weapons. You have a jargon made, weapons grade plutonium. Weapons grade plutonium is not produced by this reactor. This reactor will produce about 9 kilograms of plutonium, but not weapons grade plutonium. I want to underline this.
آقای کریب و خانم شرمن خیلی بی‌ادبی کردند. کلمات زشتی گفتند که این زشتی لایق خود اونهاست. پول مال ایرانه. شما پول رو قبضه کردید، یک نوع دزدی است. دزد شدید. حالا به برکت مذاکره یه مبلغی از این پول خودمون رو به ما دارن. ایران عامل بی‌ثباتی در سوریه، در لبنان، در عراق، در بحرین، در غزه، در افغانستان است. عامل ثباتی، عامل بی‌ثباتی. یه قدری فکر کنید، با تعقل حرف بزنید. اون چه در این کشورهایی که نام بردید میگذرد جنایات شماست. شما آمدید یه جمعی از دشمنان سوریه رو جمع کردید که این دشمنان در مورد سوریه بخوان تصمیم بگیرن. جان کری میگوید که ما بر روی تاریخ سخت 30 ساله اخیر ایران و سوابق رفتارهای بله چشم نبندید، چشمتون رو باز کنید ببینید در این شوخی میکنن، خودشون هم جرأت نمیکنن. میگویند در طول 6 ماه آینده ما با تحریم ها فشار رو به اقتصاد ایران ادامه میدهیم، نمیگذاریم اقتصاد ایران بهبود یابد. متاسفانه این آمریکا بالکل نیست. هم خود رئیس جمهور و هم وزیر خارجه و هم خانم شرمن همشون هی مرتب تهدید میکنن گزینه نظامی روی میزه. ایران به این تهدیدها میخندد. ایران میخندد. میدانیم این سخن تهدید نظامی، این که میگوید همه گزینه ها روی میز. مردم از وزارت خارجه ایران انتظار دارند که به این یاوه سرایی ها، به این دروغ ها، به این تهمت ها، به این پررویی ها و بی‌حیایی ها ندارد که ایران فریاد بزند و فریادش به آسمان برسد که مرگ بر آمریکا.